Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone, as I get right home with you in the afternoon. You can find us on television. That's Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And we are now with the biggest country station in South Carolina, WZLA, and we're really proud of that one too. You can find them on the dial at 92.9. Now, we were listening to this station long before we moved to South Carolina. If you're moving to a different area, let me suggest you do this. Find as much of a local station as you possibly can. They're all growing, being bought out by big ones, but try to stay as local as you can. That way you can find out a little bit more about your community and what's happening there in that area. So anyway, we want to thank all the outlets we have for the show. You can continue using social media sites as well. Continue sending email, Donna@donnasedge.com. I appreciate every single one, Donna@donnasedge.com. I've got Terri LaPoint with me right now. Terri is a good friend of mine, and she is running for office. And Terri, for all the new folks that may be listening right now, let's explain what you're running for and why you're doing it.
Okay, so I'm running for U.S. Congressional Seat 3. So that is Alabama's U.S. Congressional Seat 3. That's the eastern side of the state, from all north of Gadsden and Nakalula Falls all the way down to Auburn and to the Georgia state line, and goes to almost to Birmingham, to the St. Clair County, Talladega County. So I have been fighting for families for a long time, and serving families for in one way or another for my whole life. And the more I've seen, the more I've recognized that it's federal funding that is where a lot of the problems lie. A lot of our federal funding is funding things that it shouldn't be funding, and they're finding out a whole lot. And there's a lot more, I think, to be found out and to be exposed. But that is why I'm running, so that I can fight more effectively for families. I've seen families separated, kids medically kidnapped. I was an investigative journalist for several years, investigating a whole lot of going into stories of families being separated that shouldn't be, and government overreach. And I was exposing a whole lot of that, and it was very good. It started, it was really kind of the forerunner to a lot of things that are starting to happen now. But that there's no matter what we do in Alabama or in South Carolina or one state does, when you see the same patterns happening over and over in red states and blue states and purple states, it's federal funding. That's the issue, and we've got to deal with it at the federal level so that states can deal with it more effectively on their state level.
Absolutely. And we see all these things happening, and a lot of folks say, follow the money, follow the money. And so, especially when it comes to families and it comes to kids, I carry a handgun. And so before I started carrying the handgun, Phil, my husband, and another good friend of mine, Rick Staines, he's basically a security specialist is what he does. And so the first thing they asked me is, would you have a problem if you saw somebody preying on anybody, but especially a kid? Would you have a problem shooting that person? I said, no, I would not have a problem at all. If I thought I could save the life of a young person whose mind was being degraded by some thug, I would not have a problem whatsoever. But now, why are we to that point instead of folks like you running for office and being in a position where you can help those families and the kids especially?
Well, it's kind of been going on for a long time.
Sure has.
The trafficking has become huge, and it's massive even in our own state of Alabama. Mm-hmm. It's huge. It's everywhere. And what a lot of people have no idea about, we in America are huge. It's not just overseas, it's right here. And the foster care system is the largest supplier of children for the child sex trafficking industry in America. The Department of Justice said that years ago, and that's still the reality. And there's so much that happens in behind closed doors, confidentiality, they hide behind that, and there's no accountability in some of these areas, and children are being exploited and taken advantage of and abused and severely hurt.
Well, I was
It's
speaking
unacceptable.
in North Alabama once. It's been a few years ago. This is back before we found out really how bad it is. And so I said, well, you're looking at your big towns, your big cities, like Chicago, New York, some of those areas. She said, no, it's happening in our own backyard. And I said, here? I'm in small town USA. And she said, absolutely it is. She said, now it's an organized crime that's happening to the kids. She said, but it's also people in your neighborhood who are hooked on drugs and they'll do anything to get it. So they're selling their kids in order to be able to keep up the drug habit. How in the world did we get to this level?
It's horrible. It's horrible. I mean, it's ancient. I mean, some of this stuff goes back to millennia, just ancient stuff. But it happens. And part of it is because of the demand. We've got such a demand for this stuff I think if you're caught involved in it as one of the adults using children in this way, you need to have the book thrown at you. Absolutely. You need to be under the jail. And we're coming up with stricter punishments and harsher punishments for those who are trafficking children, and that is good. I mean, there's death penalties on the table now, and that's good. But what about the people who are actually going to these children and raping them and doing these things they're not the traffickers, they're the buyers. They need to have the book thrown at them too.
Well,
there's no excuse for that.
Like drugs. I mean, you would think that you could actually get a control over the drugs that are being,
Well, and the drugs are, the Trump administration's doing a good job at the border, starting to reducing some of the numbers are getting better as far as that. That's, thank God. And I saw something that was really surprising, but wonderful. We've got the lowest murder rate that we've had since in well over 100 years in America. The murder rate has dropped significantly, and that's border security. That's a whole lot of it.
It is, because folks have been dragged through and coming through the border for decades. They absolutely have. And it's enough. Now I think Americans finally had enough when we were finding how much money, our tax dollars were being given to folks who are coming through illegally. I think that's when people. And
I remember. I know this. I know that they were getting Medicaid. They've been getting all kinds of aid just on the the lower levels. But now we see the Somali leering centers and all of that. There's so much corruption and so much defilement, and we can and should and must get rid of that. We talk, there's ICE is big in the news, and what people tend to not think about, or the media is ignoring, is the angel families. The book that I wrote, Voices That Will Not Be Silenced, the mother in that book had her life was taken by somebody here illegally. There was a young man who was drugged a half a mile under this man's truck, and he lost his legs, and eventually, after about 5 years, succumbed to those injuries, and he's no longer with us, this young man. He did nothing. These kids, these were 19, 20-year-olds. They did nothing wrong except for happen to be in the vicinity where a crazy illegal never even slowed down. You can see the video, and you can see the sparks from where he hit them on their back of a moped. He hit the back, and he never slowed down. two deaths he's responsible for. He was here illegally. There's a whole chapter in my book on angel families, where they went to DC and they've talked to people. Angel families, you know what those are, right? I don't know if all the listeners do, because we don't hear about that in the media, right?
Talk about what angel families are.
They're people who have lost a loved one to somebody here illegally. Whether they were murdered, raped and murdered, killed in car accidents, and things that. Okay, so I'm married to a firefighter, so we're all about service. But he told me every time that there was a hit and run, then they would catch. There would be illegals involved, and they don't necessarily drive like we do. They're not bound. They don't think that they're bound by the same laws that we are. And they tend to be the hit and runs. I mean, that's fact. I'm not hating on them. I love people. I was going to be a missionary for Pete's sake. I love people from other cultures. I love learning about the cultures. I love learning about all of that, but do it legally.
Absolutely.
Do it legally when you come to whatever country you're going to. Do it legally.
Yeah, but the group who's the most upset about illegals are the people who came through the right way, and that's my daughter-in-law. She's from Russia, and so she came here when she was 9 years old with two of her sisters, and they had to go through the process. Now, it wasn't an overnight deal, okay?
Right. No, it's
more American history than we all know. I mean, this girl, I'm showing she's a huge Trump supporter. She has been since the first time he announced he was going to run. When he was thinking about running, she said, I like him. And I said, what do you like about him? And she said, he's not full of bull. He just said going through his head. And then she said, that's what we need to hear. We want to hear. She's from Russia where, people just spoke what they thought, And so she was kind of used to that anyway.
And New Yorkers are that way too. I spent a summer in New York. I was a nanny.
Well, my dad's from the South, but he talked like that. I mean, it was just like, he's in the business world and he just said it like it was. I mean, just, no frills, no nothing. And so I kind of grew up in that area too. So to me, Trump's not rude. But the point being this is that no one gets more upset than my daughter-in-law when people come through illegally and they're getting funding.
They are. They absolutely are. I mean, the daycares with all this money. I mean, yes, it's become a joke now because people are talking about how much that is. Oh, we'll just go start a Leering Center. There's the internet's full of those memes, and it's kind of funny, but it's kind of really disgusting that we're struggling to meet our bills. Every firefighter. If you know any firefighters, they always have a second job because it takes a second job. Every firefighter, And
they're risking their life every day. I would imagine every call your husband gets, you're sitting at home worried.
So he started this 30 years ago and almost 30 years ago. And I just had a talk with the Lord and I said, Lord, I can't live my life panicking and freaking out every time he gets a call. So will you do this? Will you let me know when I need to pray? Will you wake me up? Will you let me know in my spirit? Let me know. And there's been times when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be praying and I'd find out there was a reason that I needed to be praying. So the rest of the time, I'm not even worried. It's like, he's going to work. Goodbye. I'll see you later. But that's just the way we've done it. So, but yes, they do. They risk their lives. And for years, he was at the busiest fire station in America. They did more runs because they had the rescue units as well. And they did more runs than any other station in America right here in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm. That's something. So, let's go into a commercial break and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes. We're already hanging there. More questions for Terri.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show. We've been doing this for over 20 years, soon to be 20 and a half years. Can't believe it's been going on this long, but we're so proud to be part of your world. And again, continue sending email. It just makes my day. Donna at donnasedge.com, Donna at donnasedge.com. Terry, a lot of folks responding with questions for you like, you seem to have a good life. Why are you running for office?
Because I can't unsee the things that I've seen. Mm-hmm. I can't just sit back. I love my life. I have a great life now. God has blessed me. I can't unsee the things that I've seen. There are too many people that are hurting. And because of my investigative brain, that the analytical, I can investigate, I can find answers, I can come up with solutions, and that's what I do, and I can make a difference. And when God made it clear that this is the direction He was leading us in, I've always told the Lord, "Here am I, send me." And so that's why I'm going. I want to make a difference. It's not about me. It's about the people in my district and the families, the people that are struggling, the people that want the kind of America that we were told in my civics classes before they got all this woke ideology. In my civics classes, we talked about American history and of what the vision and the dream for an America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. I want to see that again for all of us.
Let me ask you a question, because I know you go to DC a lot, and then you're home a lot as well. So what are you seeing? Are you seeing any similarities with the way people see life? And I'm saying, especially talking about families right now, are there any difference between the folks in DC and the folks in Alabama?
At the heart of it, I think everybody wants to live a good life and be able to have their family and do what they want to do, live their dream, live the American dream. I think that's everywhere. That's everywhere. Sometimes we go about things differently. There's different mindsets, different perspectives. But when I go to DC, I've gone with Family Forward Project, and it's a bipartisan group, and we're able to say, because of what I recognize is, when they take your kids and you're struggling, they don't care what party you are. They just want their kids back. So we can find those ways to cross and find those points of commonality. There are some things we will never agree on. We'll never agree on. I am absolutely pro-life, and I'm not compromising. I'm absolutely against this gender reassignment surgery. I've seen it happen with kids. I've seen it happen to foster kids that did not necessarily want it. They were compelled to, and they've completely done the surgical and all of that. I will never be okay with that.
No, that's not at all. Let me ask you another question. This pertains to Rob Ryan, whose son killed him, and his wife and his mother. So this is my question about this. Okay, so Rob Ryan, completely on the left, was okay about the assassination attempt of Trump a couple of times. He was just upset because it didn't happen. Rob Reiner was. I know he's dead, but I want to mention this. Okay, now he was okay also with other conservatives who've been killed or assassinated. He was okay with that. He's okay with abortion. He's okay with that. Now, what does that tell your children when you are okay with these things? If they're being raised in this liberal hack of a home, does that not tell your children lives are not
that you're not valuable? Because if these people can be taken out, then that's not okay. I remember one of my kids was a bully. There was a bully at school, and we said, well, so what should we do about it? And you know what he said? Mommy, we need to pray for him. It's a different mindset. It really is.
Yes, but let me ask you this. Let's talk about the mindset of the child who's raised that way, because people are they're just bewildered at why would his son kill them? Why? But he was raised in the environment that life is meaningless. He's lived in if you don't agree with me, I'm going to, you need to be dead. That's been the mindset that this boy was raised in. And he was confused.
It's really sad. It's very, very sad.
And the boy was confused about his gender as well. He's going through these, he wants to become a woman, wants to become that's the.
So were those female hormones going through a male body? I mean, females, we know there's times we have a hard time handling our own hormones. Imagine putting that in a man's body. Men aren't designed to handle that.
Yeah, but even if you weren't doing that, and you're okay, even if he says, okay, I'm a dude, I don't want to be a woman. Even if that's the case, when you're constantly hearing from your parents that it's okay for somebody being killed, if they don't agree with you, by the way, it's okay for their life to be ended. Well, aren't your kids going to grow up thinking, well, I don't agree with you, maybe I'll end your life?
I think it's a very fair assessment. Absolutely.
Because Trump got bashed for what he said about that. Well, I totally understood where Trump was coming from. Trump was, and I'm just telling you, when the two assassinations, there's probably been more, we don't know about it, but the two that we know about, assassination attempts with Trump, Rob Ryan was okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we're not valuing life, and we're seeing that whole thing versus the angel families versus the ICE stuff. Nobody's demonstrating in the streets and protesting against the people who were killed by somebody here illegally.
Right.
Haley King, in my book, there was never a protest. There was never a rally. Nobody went in the streets after all of that. But when this isn't happening organically. This isn't there. The people are funding this. There's a dark agenda behind a lot of this, and right now it's coming out in the news. And I think in the next few days we're going to find out a lot more about the funding behind all of this. And I think that's criminal. There's got to be laws against all that, and if there's not, there needs to be. And I'd be willing to introduce such legislation.
Okay, about 4.5 minutes left in this segment. Well, 3.5 minutes left in this segment. So what can you do once elected? What would be the first thing on your desk? What's the first thing you want to get done?
Justina's law that says that you can't use federal funding to use foster children who are wards of the state as for medical research as lab rats. People don't think it's happening. It's absolutely happening. I've covered plenty of stories. I'm gonna bring that back up. It was introduced in 2014. That's gonna be day one. I'm going to work on changing the federal funding structure so that we're not incentivizing things. We just had lots of, not lots, but some Republican legislators who joined the Democrats in funding a whole lot of things that are completely not okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be in there standing for and fighting for and trying to lead other legislators to do the right thing. And let's vote the way that we need to vote for American, to protect American citizens, to protect America first.
Okay,
that's the job of government.
Another question, because you've been able with some of the groups you're with to work nonpartisan. Mm-hmm. Your hardest work is not going to be the Democrats. It's going to be with the thugs that are in the Republican Party. Some of them.
Rhinos?
Yeah, the rhinos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How are you going to be able to work with a rhino? At least with a liberal, you can see them coming. You can dodge the bullets. But with a rhino, you can't dodge it. I mean, it's you don't know where they're coming from.
Right. Well, I mean, there's got to be some discussions, and there's got to be some accountability. And I think that's got to happen. We've got to, and sometimes we've got to call people out, like Mike Rogers. It's not okay to vote to keep funding abortion and DEI and woke ideology. It's not okay to fund $315 billion for the National Endowment for Democracy that is 95% Democrat causes and liberal causes overseas that have nothing to do with anything that Americans want to fund. That's $315 billion. You had the opportunity to vote to save that money for the taxpayers, and you didn't. So,
Terri, you've got about 40 seconds left. How can folks give to the campaign, and how can they volunteer?
Go to Terri LaPoint for Congress.com. That's the website. There's a donate page there. You can go there, and you can go to join the LaPoint Freedom Force, and you can sign up to volunteer there. I'm all over Facebook, my personal page, Terri LaPoint, Terri with an I, or there's Terri LaPoint for Congress.
There you go.
There you go.
Terri, thank you so much for your hard work you've been doing for decades. Definitely appreciate that. All you're doing for the kids, definitely appreciate that, because kids are the future. And if we don't get hold on it right now, we have no time to lose. We got to do it right now.
Right now. Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you again for being with us, Terri. And thank you guys so much for watching the show. Definitely appreciate it. Continue sending email. It makes my day. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319 and let's think of the possibilities.